Hello our dear followers, this is Frank and Angie. Welcome to our channel. We sold everything and moved to Latin America, and we're still there. I'm going to talk to you about 3 good reasons not to move to Mexico right now. I wanted to tell you first that Mexico was the very first place I ever went on an out-of-the-country vacation. It was just the most amazing experience to have because it fulfilled all of the expectations that one would have. What do you call it?
It had the atmosphere, the
it
food.
had all of the things, all of the elements.
The weather.
The food, the weather, the atmosphere.
People.
And let's not forget the prices. Back in that day, in the 80s, the currency had just been through a massive devaluation, and so it was the typical live like a king and poco dólares. So that was just a snapshot in time, though, and things have changed. Now, for one reason or another, and I would say that the main reason would be that because Mexico is right next door to the U.S., it has remained a very popular area to go to. And I wish that things were different for Mexico because I find myself thinking about Mexico a lot. It just still has so many of the of the attractions that it originally had, although some of its shine has now been lost. And so the 3 things are, the number 1 thing would be that there just seems to be more and more reports of just crime filtering through to visitors, to tourists, and just tourists getting caught in the line of criminal fire and just ending up becoming victims. And it's not just that, also direct violence against tourists. There's just a lot more reports of that. Here's what happens, as you know if you've been following our channel, the more foreigners, or especially gringos, the more gringos there happen to be in a place, the more minimizing the place seems to get when it comes to some of the really important things that people should know about, especially when you're contemplating moving to a place. So that's number 1, is just the danger towards the tourist. It used to be that, the thing was that if you were just a tourist and you were just hanging out in the tourist areas, that the violence, that's just for people that engaged in drug dealing, or that's just for certain areas where the gangs are and that kind of thing, So if you're just a tourist, or if you're just visiting for a few months, whatever, it won't affect you. And for the most part, it won't affect you. But who wants to play Russian roulette with their life and be in the wrong place at the wrong time? It just seems counterintuitive to me that if you're going to a place to enjoy life, you shouldn't be increasing the odds of something, violent happening to you. That's just the way I see it. That's just me,
Number two is getting overrun. It's overrun by tourists and overpriced and overhyped.
So the second reason I wouldn't go to Mexico has to do with prices. And this is common with places that have been humped for many years, and Mexico having most recently come back to as a place to retire on the Ram magazine circuit. And all that does is it just, you know, you've heard this tune before, it just brings in all these newbie travelers that just compare it to California, and it just, the prices just, and then the prices are at the ridiculous place. Back when we went, there was no such safety issue. It was just like a peaceful people, and it was just a different scene. We went on several occasions, and specifically I recall a spur-of-the-moment trip we took to Mexico the last 2 weeks of December. I was perusing the ads. Back then we didn't have internet. And you know, we didn't have internet, so I was looking in the paper on flight deals. That's where you found them. Nowadays you go online. And you got this package deal, and it was like, I don't remember. I think it was super cheap. It was like $300.
Yeah, it was. It was like $350 or something.
$350 or just something just ridiculously cheap for a whole week. And I think we stayed 2 weeks.
It was inclusive too.
All inclusive.
Included everything.
And it was a resort. It wasn't some dumpy
it was a resort
room. It's just some dumpy room or something. It was a resort. It was amazing, the prices. But now you got to shell out an arm, a leg, and an abdomen, as the saying goes.
Well, you can still get some good deals to Mexico, but the problem is, I think that a lot of these places, people are going to the same places in Mexico, and they're just overpriced. People are saying that Playa del Carmen is more expensive than the U.S. So.
I'm not saying there aren't areas where you could go to Mexico and get better deals, but a lot of the places that are touted, you know, on the internet and especially the Ram magazine circuit and the main places, are all like that. They're all very expensive. So, but again, we went to Puerto Vallarta back in the day. And that was the main area, and we were right there on the beach, and so I don't know. It seems like the values have just not there now. To me, you know, going to have a fun or enjoy a place is because part of it's because it's cheap. What's the point? You want to go somewhere expensive? There's lots of places like that.
Yeah, there's lots of places like that.
And so the third reason I wouldn't go to Mexico right now, and actually this reason is the same reason back 30 years ago when we first went to Mexico. You couldn't drink the water then, and you can't drink the water now. But you see, when we went back then, it was for a quick spur-of-the-moment, week or two, have fun vacation. And I've always said when making other videos about other areas, that there's a big difference between going on vacation for a short period of time and having to put up with the dirty water thing, the contaminated water thing, and actually moving to a place, lock, stock, and barrel, and that's it. You're planting it there, and you're the plant in the backyard. That's where you're sitting.
Exactly.
Two totally different scenarios.
Yes.
I mean, in the first scenario,
yes,
they tell you back in the day we didn't know a darn thing about anything, even though we thought we did. And they just tell you, oh, no worries, just take your Pepto-Bismol, you know, which is really dumb because all that does is it's just constipating you. But anyhow, that's not what the video's about. The point is that, you know, oh, just take some Pepto-Bismol and you'll be fine. But the reason you were fine is not because you took Pepto-Bismol, it's because you went home. You went home after a week or two and you went back to safety of clean water. The way the Rams are doing it nowadays is telling people to move here, and all their groups, the Rams and their groups, just touting these places, and people just naively doing it, is that when you're in an area which is referred to as an endemic area, this word endemic, you just really, it's the kind of word and situation that kind of goes over most people's heads, because because you haven't been through it. It's one of those things in life that you really don't fully understand until you're really ready to accept what is being said. And if you're not ready to accept what's being said, you won't get it. You will not get it. And unfortunately, when you finally move down there and things start happening to you, then it's kind of too late. It can get too late if you kind of, if you sit on it, like, you know, some people do.
Do you mean you can't just go out and buy bottled water if you live there, Frank?
Well, endemic means that you're surrounded, and it doesn't matter even if you're on well water. I mean, you're making things a little better for you, but when it's an endemic area, it means that you're surrounded from all sides. And you go out to eat, you
eat at a
dishes,
local's
you
house.
take a shower, you buy
fruit and vegetables from the mercado.
You know, you go to somebody's house. You're just endemic area, you know, you're not getting away from it. Buying bottled water is what you tell people that are going on vacation.
Yeah.
When you go on vacation, you buy bottled water, and that's fine. That'll work. Why? Because it's not really working, but you're going home. Remember, that's your exit. You're going home. You're gone. You're outside of the danger zone. So that's the difference. Anyhow, those are the major issues. As I said earlier, I just keep thinking about Mexico. I like Mexico, and I think that it's a great place to go to visit, but I, for one, would just stay away because of these very important issues that are not the kind of issues that I would want to minimize for myself or for my family. I wouldn't want to, you know, take a chance like that. So, and I won't. So that's why you don't see me in Mexico. Some people have asked if we'll go to Mexico, but I'm not saying I'll never go to Mexico, and I may go to Mexico.
We might go for a vacation.
We may go for a visit, you know, but right now there's a certain kind of, you know, kind of carefulness saying, well, maybe this isn't a good time. So here's the thing. If 7 tourists get killed on the beach from drug dealers or whatever, isn't that 7 tourists too many? How is it okay to just, you know, play the, well, it won't happen to me, that happens to somebody else game? I mean, if it happens, if and when it happens to you, you're the guy that happened to. So it doesn't really matter that it didn't happen to everybody else. If and when it happens to you, like for example, the guy that's dead, you know, or the guy that suffered violence, to them, it doesn't make any difference that 98% of the rest of the people didn't suffer that violence. To the person that did suffer that violence,
and their families,
it's not something you sweep under the rug. It's something that they suffered. So that's the point. I'm sure there's a whole lot more violence that is happening that is not reported and is
oh
minimized.
My goodness, yes.
It's just that when an environment has got a certain level of violence going on, it just makes the whole idea a little bit, you know, it just makes it tainted, so that you're just
exactly,
you have to weigh the. All right, so guys, thanks for listening, and you know what to do. If you like the video, just looking out for your safety. And we want to enjoy life. We want you to enjoy life, and we got ways to do that. So check out the links below, see what fits for you. Have a wonderful day.